Tim Sheaffer, SheafferDesign Studios, and do a quick little vid about how I build my panels. There's probably 100 ways to build a panel. This is how I've come to do it. This is a 48 by 30 inch panel. So I've cut two 30-inch pieces and two 48-inch pieces, and then I've got a splitter for the middle. Anytime I go beyond, anytime I do 48 inches, I split it. So if I did this square, it would have a T-bar in it. All right, so one essential thing, this whole panel is held together by glue. So I buy a really good glue, what I think is a really good glue, to get us started. And for the structural part of it, I use a 1-inch finish nail with my nail gun, which, just be warned, the compressor will probably kick on and it gets kind of noisy when the compressor kicks on, so you have been warned. Just a touch of glue on each end. Takes a little while, but you'll learn how much glue goes on there. Doesn't take much. I match up both ends. And then I start dropping in nails. So you gotta have a flat surface to work on. That's essential. And I'm gonna pinch that together, but I'm not gonna have my hand too close to the nail gun because sometimes the nail will shoot through the wood, so I don't wanna put a nail inside of my hand. I put one from each direction. Essentially, the glue is going to be what holds it together the best. The nail is just there to keep it together while I'm working with it. I mean, it does provide some structural integrity, but for the most part, the glue will be the major component there. Work both ends. Just a little bit of glue on each end. Match it up. I like to match it up while it's still wet. Gonna hold it together. Make sure my corner is square. They do have shoot, what am I thinking of? They have a bracket that you can put on the end. A clamp, corner clamp. Sorry about that. That you can put on the end to hold it together. I found that it's only slowed me down, and for this, I think if you're doing actual framing, it might be nice to have, but for what I'm doing here, it's not necessary. All right, so now that's all 4 corners. I'm going to take my square, double check, because you still can manipulate the squareness of it at this point. So I just check opposite corners. Pretty darn square. And then I'm going to take, I want to do this splitter, this divider, the support in the middle. So it's half of 48, it's 24. 24. A little dab of glue. 2 nails per side. Alright, so I didn't give you the measurement on the center there. I can't remember what it was exactly, but when you cut, there's 30-inch with the 45-degree angles. The distance from here to here is going to be the same length as your center support. Alright, so now I'm going to get ready to put the panel on the frame. And I'm just going to put a thin line. You don't need much. Across all the surface here. And then I'm going to switch out my nail gun. I'm using a finish nailer right now with a 1-inch nail. I think I already said that, but at any rate, I'm going to switch to my brad nailer. So the difference between a brad nailer and a finish nail is that although the finish nail has a very little head on it, the brad nail has practically no head on it. So it takes a different gun. So I'm going to switch out my gun. This is a 3/4 inch brad that I'm going to be using. So I'm using a red oak plywood, and I get it from Home Depot, and I have them cut it, but you can't really count on them to cut it to the right size. They've got a beast of a saw, and it should be accurate, but it never is. I think the guy today said it could be off by 1/8 of an inch, which is just incredible. So what I do, this is from 1 sheet of plywood. I had them cut 3 at 32 inches. And that gives me an inch overhang on both sides, or a total of 2 inches. Sometimes it's 1/2 inch on one side, an 1.5 inch on the other. What I'm gonna do after I get both sides flush, both of the shorter sides flush, and get it all nailed down, I'll come back with my router, and I've got a bit for my router, a tabletop bit to cut this all down to size. And it gives you a really nice finished edge too. I usually shoot about 5 to 6. So the compressor gets kind of loud when it kicks on, so I edit that out. All right, 5 to 6 on the 30-inch side. I mean, if you think about it, you're about every 6 inches. What I'm doing here is, because I have this overhang, is I'm taking my fingers, and because I can kind of sense where I'm pinching together, pull my hand out before I pop the nail in. But it gives me a pretty accurate shot. It's just to line up that brad so it doesn't float to the inside or the outside of the frame. And we'll do this side over here. Back here. All right, so now I want to hit that center support there. I know where my 2 nails are on the end here that hold that piece into place. So I'm able to use my square, and then I'll just pop 1, 2, 3, and one more for good luck. So essentially that's it. Now I didn't show you all the cutting or anything like that, but I prepped all that before we started this video. What I'll do is come in with wood fill and fill in all the nail holes on the top, on the surface, and on the edges. And then I'll router it out and then run a sander over everything, get it nice and clean, and start priming and gesso. That's it. Thanks for watching my video. Tim Sheaffer, SheafferDesign. Please follow, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your brother, tell your aunt, tell your uncle, whoever you can tell them. And stay tuned. Thanks. Have a great day.